PhD in Islamic finance from World Islamic Sciences University in Jordan. I came here in Canada in 2016. I have my own business, so worked around Islamic finance. I'm involved in some committees like of that committee. So we developed some products about Islamic finance, and alhamdulillah, and we found some kind of solution for our community here in Edmonton, alhamdulillah. So today we have an important topic. It's about Islamic finance. That topic might touch the daily life of every one of us. So in this lecture, inshallah, we're gonna get to know what is Islamic finance and how it differentiates from conventional finance. Most people don't know what is the difference between Islamic finance and conventional finance. And they ask that question, is there a difference? So they look at the results, so what comes out from the finance, they say it's the same. Here's you need some amount of money and you're gonna pay it back with extra money. And Islamic finance is the same result. So what is the answer for that? The simple answer is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in Surah Al-Baqarah. وقالوا إنما البيع مثل الربا. So they said إنما the sale transaction is the same of riba or interest. But the answer came from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that وَأَحَلَّ اللَّهُ الْبَيْعَ وَحَرَّمَ الرِّبَا. So that's the answer. So if we are Muslim, as Muslims we believe in that. But what we are looking for is what's the hikmah or the wisdom behind that. So that's the short answer. So let's get started and know more details about Islamic finance. So what is Islamic finance? That's a big question we need to know in this section, inshallah. So to know about Islamic finance, we need to know what is this finance first. So finance is simply, you can say, to allocate some fund by someone. That someone may be an individual, maybe the government, maybe a corporation, to allocate that amount of money or fund for something. You might need to purchase something, you might to get service, you might need to get to have a lease, for example. So that's simply finance in general. So to allocate some fund for something. And we have two types of financing. Local financing or in-house financing. And we have three-party financing. So local financing, if someone borrows money and it's in their bank account or they have it in cash, that's called local financing or in-house financing. So you own the money. You have it in your pocket or in your bank account, and you can use that money to do whatever we want to do. That's called local or in-house financing. The second type of financing is third-party financing. That means there is a third party involved in the financing process, which might be bank, financing company, or individual financier. If somebody needs help and more explanation in Arabic, I can do that as well. Just let him tell me what he needs to know. I can explain it in Arabic, inshallah. So now, our topic is included, or it's a part of third-party financing. So we have third-party financing. That means other than the individual who needs to buy or to get the service, we need money from somewhere else. And we have two types of third-party financing, which is conventional finance and Islamic finance. Conventional is lending with interest, whatever they name it. So simply, when you go to the bank or to the financial corporation or to financier and ask them to lend you a certain amount of money and to pay it off back to them with extra money, with increase, that means interest. So this type is conventional financing. So lending and borrowing against interest. And we have the other type of third-party financing is Islamic finance, which is our topic for today. What is Islamic finance? It's a type of financing activity that must comply with Sharia or Islamic law. As Muslims, you know, we need all our activities, all our deeds should be compliant with Sharia, even in ibadat or in muamalat. And this is part of muamalat. All our muamalat should be compliant with Sharia 100%. Or to do our best to be compliant with Sharia. Like if we are in a non-Muslim country, so we do our best to get the halal way in our muamalat, always. Now, what's the principles of Islamic finance? So we have principles, so we have to follow a certain way to get that halal financing. It's different from the conventional financing, but we have to follow a certain way to get that fund. So first we have ownership, which is the most important, which considered the pillar of Islamic finance. So Prophet Muhammad says in authentic hadith, do not sell what you don't own. What does that mean? So as a Muslim, you cannot sell something you don't own it first. You have to own it to cause that thing in your hand or to be in your property. And then if you own it, then you are allowed to sell. So this is the ownership. So what if you sell something you don't own it? This is haram, according to this hadith. So when the vendor makes a sale contract for something that they don't own yet, after that they buy it for less price and present it to the purchaser in the due date. So we have many examples occurring nowadays. They don't comply with this principle. For example, now we have Amazon, we have Best Buy, we have many websites selling and buy online. Some people, what would they do? They look around, they see what's requested most in that website. Let's say they are asking about to buy a mobile device, and the price for that is, let's say, $500. So if somebody has an account on Amazon or in these websites, so they can shop around to find what that ordered in the website about the device, the requested device. So they make the deal with them. So they buy it to them. They contacted them. We have this product for $500. They make the deal and they sell the device to that person. And after that, after they make the deal, they go to the store and buy the device from the store and deliver it to that person. Does that happen or not nowadays? It happens a lot, right? So is it halal or haram? It's 100% haram, because you don't own that thing. Why it's haram? So because you didn't take the risk of ownership. So in Islamic finance or in Islamic muamalat in general.
Excuse me, I didn't understand. So I go, I find a cell phone and I go buy it and I sell it for you. So I own it temporarily, right?
No, you don't own it temporarily. I'm looking and I'm the buyer.
You're trying to buy.
Exactly.
And I find something online.
Exactly.
And I buy it and then I sell it.
No, you sell it to me first.
Before I buy, okay.
Because I don't know if you own it or not. So you say, I have this device, I want to sell it to you for $500. So you make the deal, you get the money from that person, and then you go to the store, buy the device, and send it to the purchaser.
Excuse me, is this the same as drop shipping?
What do you mean by drop shipping?
That's exactly what dropshipping is.
Somehow,
This one, according to this, what we explained, is it haram?
so it's drop shipping haram.
Drop shipping, but I need to know more about it to answer you. If there's more details. Okay, let's keep it for to the last of the lecture, inshallah.
You know, drop shipping is when you find a dealer and you can acquire the item from them for a wholesale price, and you can sell it again on Amazon or Shopify. Maybe you don't receive the item. It's gonna be in the way in the
road.
yeah, but you can sell it before you receive it. I mean,
We are talking about on the product or the item.
you
Even if it's not in your store, in your yeah, exactly.
I think it doesn't necessarily need to be in your possession right now.
Yes.
As long as you made the deal and you bought it first, then it's yours anyway.
Yeah.
So ownership means you buy something or you have it in your store, in your possession. Sometimes you buy something and you keep it in the store, but it's yours, right? So you own that thing. You might ask the seller to keep it as a trust, as a man. So that means you own it. No, that's a different story.
Yeah.
We're talking about something you don't own it at all. You didn't pay for it. You didn't make any deal to possess that item.
Excuse me. So the condition is to own the product, or because sometimes or normally we do in bets. So we go and offer something. We don't own it right now, but as long as we got the deal, we start to go for the procurement cycle and purchase the stuff and deliver it to the client at the end. You know, so we own it at one point, but not before we made the deal. So sometimes we go do some sales and marketing and end up
Yeah,
with
it's
a deal.
still valid.
and then-
Yes, yes. Sometimes you contact the seller or the warehouse where the product you wanna buy it from. You contact and you make the deal maybe online or through emails or text messages. You send the money, so you confirm the deal. After you confirm the deal and the seller says that this product is yours now, so that means you own that item.
But before that, we got an order from a client needs this product. So stage one was that we bet something we don't own or we don't have. We
Yeah.
just have our, let's say, an agreement with a manufacturer who would provide this later on when we got the deal. So let's say that you are my client and Dr. Noor is my manufacturer. So I go to you first, obtain a deal. So I sent you an offer, you accepted, we got a deal. Let's say that you need 10 pieces of X. So I goes to X manufacturer, I need 10 pieces or more, or you know,
Yeah,
or I
yeah,
have
yeah,
some
I
more stock.
understand.
And sometimes I have 4 of X and I
Yeah.
don't have the remaining. So
That's
But your
called
client didn't pay you.
That's
in
called
full before you
commission.
got it from your vendor, right?
sometimes it's an advance payment as well. Sometimes it happens
that's
that it is
called
an advance
sale through commission. You mean. So commission is valid as well, but you are not the seller. You are the mediator between the producer or the warehouse and the final purchaser. So you practice kind of mediation between two,
It's
and
an
you get
agency.
commission for that.
You are an agency for another manufacturer. Let's say that any brand.
I know. You are
for
an
example,
agent.
You
You are an
You
agent.
are an agent. So
Yeah. So that's different from the owner. Ownership means you are a merchant, or you have a warehouse, you have a store, or you practice your own business, but you buy and sell by yourself. So you claim that the product is yours.
Okay. But you don't have it in store.
You don't have it in the store.
Right.
Even if you don't have it in the store, but you own it. Sometimes you own something and you keep it where it is now.
But
In
you
the
have
store or in the producer or somewhere else. But you own it, you pay the value of that product, and you got confirmation from the seller that's yours now.
That's the condition to be halal.
That's condition 100% to be halal. Otherwise, if you sold any item and you don't own it, that's haram.
So I guess drop shipping is haram. Right?
I can't tell now. I need more details about that because I have no idea about it.
It's exactly like you explained.
Okay. So according to this principle, so it's clear now that all conventional banks here in Canada specifically and North America, they cannot make Islamic deals or Islamic finance. Why? According to this principle, because by law, all these banks here in Canada or North America, they are not allowed to practice any commercial activity, like to sell and buy, like to enter an partnership, any kind of partnership. They are not allowed to. So that's why no Islamic finance by banks here in Canada. Why I'm saying that, some brothers come to me and ask, we got an offer from RBC Bank or TD Bank or any other bank here in Canada. So especially for professionals, doctors or engineers or any professional, so that they have some products, they claim it as Islamic products. So I asked them how that's possible. Explain to me how that's possible. So the bank tell them, so what you want? We want to build a clinic, or you want to buy a house, let's say. Okay, we're gonna pay for that, for the seller, or for the builder, or for the developer, and then we can sell it to you. Okay, I said that's fine. Let me see the contract. When you see the contract between the bank and that professional, you're gonna see it's a lending contract, 100%. So when you claim you can buy that product from another party or from the seller, you have to own it, as we said earlier. You have to own it and take the rest of ownership. Otherwise, it's going to be a long contract. So that's why all banks here in Canada are not allowed, because they need a law, specific law, as we have in the Middle East or Gulf countries. Now we have a law that organizes the working of Islamic banks. They need a law. So that's why all banks here in Canada and North America, they cannot make any Islamic finance deal. For sure, except lending and borrowing money against interest, which is riba. Sometimes they call that products is compliant with Sharia, like car loan or mortgage halal or something else. But when you go in details, you're gonna see a long contract. So is that clear for all conventional banks like RBC, TD, all the banks here? They cannot make Islamic finance.
Even the foreclosure?
That's a different story.
Yeah.
Foreclosure, yeah. With some condition, they can.
They can.
Yes. But in general, they can't offer any Islamic deal. So as a Muslim, when you need to finance any of your needs, so you must ask about if there is Islamic finance. So is there solutions for that? For sure, we have some solutions. We're not working as a bank, but we have other solution for that. First, which is easy solution, you can ask the seller themselves if they offer in-house financing. So if they offer in-house financing, that's might be or most likely can be Islamic deal. How? If you go to the dealership, we have some dealerships here in Edmonton and in Canada, like Toyota, like Honda, like Ford, and other companies. So they offer in-house financing. As we explained earlier, in-house financing, that means they have their own financial department. That means they have the fund, they own the product, and they have the fund. So all they do, just they sell you the product or the car for a term of 5 years, 6 years, 7 years, with extra money, that money is not interest. But there's a condition should be exist here. That condition, the price or the rate offered by the company to sell you that car should be fixed rate. Why we need that fixed rate? We're gonna get to know in the later, inshallah. So this is a solution. You ask for in-house financing. So you go to the dealership if they have in-house financing. That means they have the money, their own money. It's not third party. As we explained earlier, if you have your own money, that's no riba in that. So you can buy from that company, even it's for a term, certain term, and even they call it sometimes interest rate. We don't look at that terminologies, or if they call it interest, we don't call it interest as Muslims. We can consider that as a profit. So we look at the results, as we said in Surah Al-Baqarah, we look at the results and we look at the process as well to get to that results. So they call it interest, we call it profit. As long as that profit is a specific amount and it's for certain term. We have an example coming later to explain, will illustrate what we are talking about. The second principle is no riba. So first, ownership. Second, no riba. Riba, which is usury or interest. As fiqh, we have three types of riba. But we're not gonna talk about the all kinds of riba. The most common known one is riba al-nasi'a, which represents 90% or more from riba nowadays. And we have riba al-fadl and riba al-nisa, which is compound riba. So what's riba al-nasi'a? So when you borrow a certain amount of money, which is called principal, for a certain period of time, the term, and return it back to the lender with increase. That increase is the interest. This is riba al-nasi'a. But it's known as riba, which is okay. Like in al-fiqh, it's called riba al-nasi'a. So what is the hikmah or wisdom behind prohibition of riba? Because taking advantage of the issues that others are facing is unjust deal. So Islamic muamalat, we are always looking at a fair deal between all parties involved in that deal. So Sharia, all Sharia, alhamdulillah, came to make everybody happy. And how to make everybody happy? By justice, by acting the justice, to make everything fair for everybody. And part of that is al-mu'amalat, or Islamic finance. Every transaction between more than one party, two parties, three parties, or more, should be fair for all. But practicing riba, there's one party should get the increase and the other should lose that amount of money, which is unfair. It's not like a sale or purchase transaction. When we make a sale transaction, you pay an amount to get a product. So both parties win. The one who buy, he's gonna get the product, and the seller is gonna get what?
Profit.
The price. So both parties wins. While in lending against interest, there's one party will win and the other will lose. Is that correct? When you pay the principal plus something, you get a loan for $10,000 and you return it back for $11,000. So you lost 1,000, and that the other part won 1,000. Is that correct? Is it fair deal? So that's one of the reasons behind, or the hikmah behind forbidden al-riba. Also, the wealth will get the return without any risk or effort. That's another reason. So the lender, there is no risk for him. They lend you that amount of money, and it's guaranteed that money. And sometimes they put a lien, or they take all the precautions to be that money guaranteed for him. So his money is guaranteed. While you are the only part who is taking the risk. So if you borrow that money to do something, so first you lost the $1,000 you're gonna pay it as interest, and then you might enter in a project, and that project might be at risk of lose. Is that right? So that's another reason for forbidding al-riba. On top of that, as Muslims, as we said earlier, we follow Al-Quran wa Sunnah. So if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that's haram, so we don't need as Muslims to go in details. We have to stop, right? But for knowledge, for more knowledge, for information, it's good to know why. Not like what we see they use nowadays in this country, who are affected in the culture of this country. You need to explain in details for every single mother to convince them why we do that, why you don't do that. So, but the rule, as Muslim, we don't need all of that. But it's good to know. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala يقول يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وذروا ما بقي من الربا إن كنتم مؤمنين فإن لم تفعلوا فأذنوا بحرب من الله ورسوله وإن تبتم فلكم رؤوس أموالكم لا تظلمون ولا تظلمون. And here's the translation in English. O who you have believed, fear Allah and give up what remains of interest, if you should be believers. And if you do not, then be informed of war from Allah and His Messenger. But if you repent, you may have your principle, you do no wrong, nor you are wronged. Third principle, no investments in prohibited activities. So we have ownership, we have no riba. Now the activity itself should be valid and compliant with Sharia. For examples, we're not allowed as Muslims to be involved in activities that comprise selling alcohol, pork, prostitution, drugs and weapons, and any other products. There are a lot, but all these products are haram in Islam. That's why you cannot finance even it's Islamic. You cannot finance the activity itself because the activity is haram. So even you have Islamic bank or Islamic financier, you cannot go and ask him to finance a store you're gonna sell alcohol because the activity is haram. Fourth, no gharar, uncertainty. So gharar means where is something hidden in any transaction, that means there's a gharar. So, as we said, every transaction should be fair for all parties. And part of that fairness, all information involved in that transactions should be known for everybody. There's no hidden information, like the cost, no, not the cost, the price should be known when you sign the contract. You need to know the product you want to buy it. That product should be present. So no hidden information. Otherwise, there's a gharar. That's called gharar in al-fiqh. First, we have no maisir or gambling. So maisir, as any other transaction, we said in sale contract, we have two parties. The first party is going to pay to buy a product, and the seller is going to get the money for that, the value. So everybody wins. But in maisir, you pay for something, but you might take it or not, which is unfair. That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala إنما الخمر والميسر والأنصاب والأزلام رجس من عمل الشيطان فاجتنبوه. And maisir is part from this ayah. So it's prohibited in Quran. It's clear. Is there any questions so far? I will keep that question until the end of the lecture, inshallah. Last principle is profit and loss sharing. So this principle is about musharaka. When you do musharaka between more than one party, so 2 parties, 3 parties, so everybody should take their own part of risk and profit as well. So if a partner came to his partners and asked them, look, I'm not gonna lose, but if there's a profit, we're gonna divide it according to our agreement. But if there's a loss, I'm not gonna bear any loss. So this is haram in Islam. Everybody should take his own part and share the others with profit and loss. After we finish the principle, I'm going to go quickly. We have here types of Islamic finance agreements. So we have many types. I think the number is around 30 to 35 products now we have in Islamic finance. All these products are alternatives for riba, alhamdulillah. But I'm not gonna go through them all because it takes time. So the most known ones, we have 4, which is murabaha and musharaka, mudaraba and bija. So murabaha, we have simple murabaha and we have murabaha upon the purchaser requests. So simple murabaha, the asset or the commodity or the item must be present upon the deal. So because no gharar, as we said. Cost must be known for the buyer. The cost of that product should be known. Profit margin must be known to the buyer, either its lump sum or percentage of cost. And here's some confusion some people might think about, which is if somebody needs to sell you that product and say, I need a profit of 5% of that product. Is it halal or haram? Just because it's a percentage.
So,
Who knows?
I think it's halal.
No, I have a question. Why should he ask him for, or why should he tell him about his percentage or whatever profit he makes?
That's a choice. That's a choice. Why not? The question is why not?
Because
you don't
I
put it
think
like that.
you
It's
have
not a
you have it
condition, right?
as a condition, right?
Only in this type of thing.
Huh?
It's not a condition
No, I
to
mean,
be
if
halal or
I will
haram.
go and buy a car, you will sell me a car, right? You
Mhm.
bought it for 10,000, and you decided you will sell it to me for 15.
No, you're talking
Should
in
you?
general.
Yeah, in general.
No, this is murabah. Specific deal.
So murabaha has certain conditions. The cost should be known. It's not like other sale contract. Sale contract, we have what's called bay al-musawa. So bay al-musawa, you don't have to declare your cost. So I'm bargaining, musawa bargaining. So I bargain with you. So I'm gonna buy it to you for $1. You say no, $0.50. So it's good. That's bay al-musawam, bargaining. Other type of bay or sale, it's murabaha. Murabaha has its own conditions. It's from buyu al-amana. It's a trust sale.
In English, they call it cost plus model.
Cost plus. Thank you. So cost plus model.
If you want a good example, they use it in the construction business because they don't want, especially at this time now, because costs are going up so fast. They just say, I'm going to build you a house, give me cost plus 10%. That's a good example.
Cost up. So the question is why not? Can we do that or not? So we can do that. But there's another condition, that percentage should be fixed. Because it's not, we have a variable rate, they call it variable rate. That means we enter to another forbidden principle, which is al-gharar. Gharar, as we said earlier, everything should be declared and fixed, no changes. So when you say variable rate, so you don't know what the rate is. So that's why it's haram. But the percentage itself, if it's fixed, and you know the cost, plus 5%, so in total, you're gonna get the fixed amount. So if the car, as you said, the car, it costs 10,000, instead of saying, I need to buy it, to sell it to you for 11,000, he can say, the cost is 10,000, and I want to make a profit 10%, so that results in 11,000, the same result, right? So that's simple murabah. So after the deal done, no changes in the conditions of the deal. So what you agreed upon, you are not allowed to change anything. The seller may give the buyer an option to pay the owing amount on payments over the term. So that's why the financing, in general, financing, you need the money, but you can't pay it off right now. You need it for a term. You need it because you need to work to get money back and pay it off. So if you get that term, so no problem. But we have the conditions should be in place. Now another type is advanced model of murabaha, which is murabaha upon the buyer's request. Here we have a third party involved in the transaction. So simple murabaha, you own the product and you wanna sell it to somebody else. That's simple murabaha. You own the product. Now you don't own, or you own the product, the seller owns the product. But as a buyer, you don't have the fund to buy that product. So what would you do? You need to go to financier or to third party to finance it to you. So that's called murabaha upon the purchaser request. مرابحة للآمر بالشراء أو لطالب الشراء. How it works? You go to the seller first. Let's say, example, a car. So you go to the seller and you want this specific kind of car. Let's say Toyota Camry and the cost of that, or the dealership put the price in that car for 50,000. You don't have that 50,000 with you. So you go look for a financier who can finance. By the way, here we can look for in-house financing, as we said earlier. So if they offer in-house financing, but that's not murabaha upon the buyer's request. That's simple murabaha. But if we need third party to be involved, that's called murabaha lil-amr al-shira. So you go to the third party and tell them that I need to buy this specific car and the cost is 50,000. Okay, they do the math. They offer Islamic finance. They do the math and they give you an offer. They can buy the car, the financier. They can buy the car. So how can they buy the car? So they ask the dealership to issue an invoice under the name of the financier. So this is part of ownership for those who ask about that point. So first, the invoice should be under the name of the financier. And then the financier should pay the money to the dealership. They don't give you the money or transfer to your bank account. They pay it to the dealership. So that means what?
They own it.
They own it.
They own it first. Even for a minute or for an hour. But they told the rest, they own that car, and then after the deal is done, we have another deal where you are in their office, you sign a contract, which is you purchase from the financier, plus the profits. So this is murabaha. So we have the cost, which is 50,000, plus you agreed with them on the price. Let's say you're gonna pay 10,000 extra. That 10,000 is not interest. That's a profit because they sell you the product. They own it and now they sell it to you. And you agreed on the term how much you're gonna pay every month. And in that way the deal is done. Is it clear? We're gonna get back to the question, please, because we are around to finish, inshallah. Example, we talk about example. Here is example about mortgage. So if you want to buy a house worth $3,150, $300,000. And you have just down payment 60,000. So you need a finance of 240. So you found Islamic financier or Islamic finance company and agree to finance it to you. So you agreed on the conditions. The conditions is for the term is 15 years. The rate is 7%. By the way, the person, most of the companies or Islamic finance companies or Islamic banks, they put their price based on the interest rate. Why? That's a long story. We're not gonna get to know about it. Some Islamic banks now are looking for better way to price the products. But for now, they put their price based on the interest rate because that they think that interest rate in a country reflects the economic condition in that country. They think so, but not necessarily correct. So they agreed on 7%, 15 years term. So they do the math. The profit in that transaction would be $240,000, which is the cost, times 7% per year, times 15 years. So the profit is going to be $252,000. And the monthly payment, so we have the principal, which is $240,000, and we have the profits, $252,000. We add them up together and divide that by 15 years, and every year we have 12 months, so divided by 180. So the monthly payment is going to be $2,733. Second, other than Murabaha upon the purchaser request, we have Musharaka, which is joint enterprise or partnership in which partners share in the profits and losses of an enterprise, like any Musharaka. And we have three types of Musharaka, which is Musharaka Daima, Musharaka permanent Musharaka. So you enter in Musharaka for MashaAllah. And we have Musharaka Mutanaqsa, or diminishing Musharaka. And we have variable Musharaka. Those are related most to the business. But we have a model of Musharaka Mutanaqsa we applied in Al-Rashid company. Mudaraba, it's good to know about Mudaraba. Mudaraba, it's kind of partnership, but we have one party or parties, they own the money, they have the money, and the other party, they don't have the other partner, but they have the experience in some kind of projects or in some kind of activities, so they know how to run that business. So both parties sit together and agree on specific conditions and terms, and that's called Mudaraba. So the one who runs the business called a Mudarib, and he gets a percentage of the profits of that project. And the other party who funded the project is going to get the profits on his principal or on his shares or contributions in the capital of that project. This is called Mudaraba. Finally, we have Ijara Muntahiya Bit-Tamlik or lease to own. It's type of financing arrangement where the lessor who must own the property. See, every transaction, the ownership should be there. If there is no ownership, no Islamic deal. This is pillar of Islamic finance. So the lessor leases the property or whatever to the lessee in exchange of stream of rental and purchase payments, ending with the transfer of the property or ownership to the lessee. So instead of buying a product for installments, you would lease it first. But the payment usually is more than the installment if it's buying. Why? Because part of that payment goes to the principal and the other part goes to the rent. So we have compound payment. So you sign a lease contract, and after you finish the term, let's say 10 years or 15 years, the title of that property is going to transfer to you with another contract. So that's it, everything for today. Inshallah.